Okay. So they used to tell you why it's grayed out is because I feel this was very obsolete when we needed to kind of focus on what the target market is. Because, okay, we had a certain persona that we wanted to target or a couple personas, and then we went into the market. But the first thing we noticed is that nobody understands what blockchain is. So from the start, whoever I would meet that was supposed to be, no, khalas, this is a no-brainer, they're going to engage with me, but then they couldn't understand what I'm trying to sell them. So I ended up having to explain to a lot of people, especially investors, what Web3 is. From like so many times, I went through the circles of Web1, Web2, Web3, and all of that. So that was a big waste of time for us. And what I noticed is that we weren't really focusing on the right metrics to kind of know who our target is. So what I found to be more relevant for me are these metrics. So the crypto savviness. So to kind of put people on a scale from novice to advanced in terms of how familiar they are with Web3 concepts. Thank you. And the technology by itself. So now I kind of know that I'm targeting people that are active on Twitter, that have mentioned Web3 or blockchain at least once in their journey or of the likes. Their motivation, so underlying drivers of Web3 adoption. A lot of the clients that we ended up working with didn't really need any blockchain, any blockchain within their solutions. A lot of them were coming to us and we want to be forward thinking. We want to kind of put that kind of title on our offering, but it wasn't really the right fit, and it ended up costing us and them time and money. And we started, kind of also filtering who we're targeting in terms of if they need a solution like that, or if they can find another Web2 based solution that, could be much more cost effective for them. Influence, the ability to drive viral adoption and shape communities and sentiments. So if you've heard the word KOL before, which means key opinion leaders, these are people that are like influencers on Instagram, but more in terms of business, right? So when they decide to promote a product or they come up with a certain strategy, they have this army of people that really engage and that go and follow and pay money. So that's also important to know. And okay, let's say, Anna, I create a solution for this person, business, or brand. How quickly can I retain their already existing user base? And there is a certain coefficient depending on the industry and how big they are and the number of users. But it's always good to kind of, try and quantify that to be able to develop better strategies and retain more moving forward. Engagement. So the level and type of interaction with Web3 platforms, basically from lurkers all the way to like contributors and evangelists. So that also is linked to how crypto savvy they are, but that's not enough. Also, if they've been engaging in blockchain, if they invest in crypto, if they understand, Web3 in general, which would really save us time and would make it much easier for us to, hit the nail on the head, as we say. So these are metrics that I use more for targeting, my user base or my clients, because we're in a very innovative industry that's constantly changing, and we're constantly learning. So imagine somebody that has to within one night understand everything I've been working on for 3 years. So it's quite hard.
Do you measure those metrics in a qualitative or quantitative way? When you want to learn about the customers based on those four key aspects. So firstly, how do you learn about them? And secondly, is it like you rate them in an objective matter? Or, for example,
usually it's so in the phase where we are in as a company right now, whereas our customers are usually big businesses and brands that, we're talking about contracts valued at over 6 figures, let's say. So now you're really talking business with someone that is either open to go down that direction and that has a huge user base. And that's why we target these people, because we don't have to come and tell them what Web3 is and whatever. And I will discuss this later, but ultimately a client wants to make more money so you can make him profit, or you're gonna cost him less money to reach the same user. So streamlining some processes or systems within their existing kind of platform. So in our case now, it's not about, you know, the quantitative or qualitative study. It's more about focusing on these four pillars and focusing on these four metrics and seeing where there is, you know, the gap that I can come and fill. And the thing is, you don't really have that many opportunities to talk with the client. They're fast moving. They have, you know, 1,000 things to think about, and you're coming to propose a solution that they might not feel that they need, right? So you really have to understand where there are gaps and how you can come and make them hear exactly what they need before they think about the question. Yes.
So do you use which one is better? KOLs, do you use them to understand the market or to influence and create a market? Which one is like feasible?
So as a business that's looking to work with a KOL, okay, they already have that status as an influencer that can influence kind of, you know, an army of people under them, right? So I use the KOLs, I use their status and their influence to be able to kind of reach a certain assumption of, you know, okay, let's say we launch this solution with this person or this brand that has this KOL as, you know, brand ambassador, right? To be able to leverage the community that they have under them, to be able to push my product or my solution on them. You know what I mean? I don't know if I answered your question.
You go for them at the product market fit level, or even and can you use them to understand the market قبل ما يلون?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you can have a KOL that comes in as an advisor to the company or as a to kind of collaborate with them to become the spokesperson later, where they can also share what they have insights, because you know, where we don't understand everything, right? And then some people that have had the chance to be part of platforms that also made it or that are building blockchains, you know, these guys have insights that we can use. And it's different than being just Insta famous. Like, these guys are thought leaders. And, you know, like, you read their threads on Twitter and you learn a lot from them, and they come up with solutions, and you read their replies to certain hacks and things, and they come up with solutions. So in Web3, it's different. The influencer is not just somebody that's trying to push a product on you. They're more about thought influencers that will push you to kind of build better, right? We can continue this later if you want. So product, which is the second pillar, right? So we want to build a standout product. How do we do that? So defining your UVP or your unique value proposition is, how can I, as I was saying before, how can I make a client spend less money, so save, or earn more money, so profit, right? So you come up with your UVP that's basically trying to solve a problem, a real world or real life problem. In our case, while targeting these consumer brands, we focus on how to retain customers, to funnel new customers, to create loyalty programs and engagement kind of, you know, processes or activities, so that it being using AI in certain processes, or learning from users kind of engagement and getting better user metrics, or creating metaverses and having people engage with, like, Easter egg hunts that would add points so that they go up in levels. So there are different ways in our field that you can reach that, or at least this is what we needed to go through to reach where we are. Focusing on user-centric design. And this was very important to us because when we started, we were a marketplace, a platform where users could come and could go through a user journey to streamline processes like creating NFTs, right? This is how we started. So constantly badgering, our UX, UI designers to kind of make things more streamlined, to make it nicer, to really have a lot of empathy and put yourself in the place of the user to kind of understand where there might be friction, how they can, what makes us, more user-friendly than an existing platform from the US that has millions in funding, right? And us a small startup out of the UAE trying to compete, but we were able to do it with as little as we had. And then iterating based on feedback, and this is very important. Listening to your community. Now, especially in our case, Web3 is very community-centric, right? So it's all about creating campaigns and getting users under your umbrella, the umbrella of your brand, whether it be on Twitter, on Discord, Instagram, whatever social media or whatever platform you can kind of, even on LinkedIn, if you have good traction there. But what's very important is to listen and to constantly dish out updates. Now, I know that my platform is a website mostly at the beginning, right? So it's much more, it could be much more based on, user journeys within the website. Now, this can apply also to a lot of other industries, right? And we can have a conversation after, and I can tell you how this applies to yours. But basically, just get feedback as much as you can and like regularly do platform updates, focus on research and development, come up with things that you can promote online and show people that you are forward thinking, that you're all constantly moving, that you're dynamic, and that you're hearing what your community and your users have to say. Now, assembling a high-performing team. So I'll tell you a bit. Let me give you, sorry, I'm going to jump back because I promised I'll give you some examples from OasisX. So we started off as an NFT marketplace, as I told you. Within our first year, we became the biggest NFT marketplace in the MENA. So we had over 650 vetted artists. We used to vet our artists. So we had a community leader that goes through their Instagram, asks them a bit about how savvy they are in Web3, and a couple of steps until they can get approved. So we had more artists on board than all the other marketplaces in the region combined within our first year. And what made us kind of excel is the fact that we were doing a lot of community events. I'm not sure if any of you attended one of ours, but we used to do like events in events and workshops in either bars, in BDD, in libraries, in so many different places to kind of target as much of a trench of a community, the community that wants to learn about what Web3 is, what are NFTs, how can I monetize my digital art. And that kept us, honestly, I feel, on the forefront of things, because people ultimately like to talk to people, even if we were in the Web3 space, and even if everything's going digital and that people are hiding behind their profile pictures of monkeys and animals. But ultimately, when we were showing ourselves, especially me as head of business development, getting on stage and talking to people like I am with you guys now. So it got people to kind of create a rapport. One with us, two with the platform, and three with blockchain, which was actually our main kind of focus, right? Because we wanted to onboard more people onto something that could help them monetize in a time where we needed it the most, during the crisis, which I feel we're still in. So so for us, constantly changing and constantly coming up with new ideas of how we can engage, how we can create nicer events, how we can get a singer or an artist to do something live, or to just mix with the community because they're avid fans as well, like we've done here in BDD before. So assembling a high-performing team. So we were lucky enough, me and my two co-founders, to kind of complete each other in a way where I was an avid fan of crypto. I was a trader. I'm a good public speaker, and I understood the industry, and I wanted kind of I understood how to build and innovate within this industry. My two other co-founders, one was a 10-year veteran in cybersecurity. So he now still doubles as our CTO and our CEO, which fits perfectly because he had experience leading teams of 10, 15, 20 people, and he was in the banking sector. So works with crypto, with blockchain. And then my third co-founder, which is head of strategy, is a 10-year veteran in VCs and funding, right? So we had strategy, we had like muscle on the ground, and we had a great manager of teams and people. And that's why we decided, okay, we think we can do this by ourselves, as in to start launching the project. But what's more important later is that we knew we lacked in marketing, we knew we lacked in community building, somebody that understands the artist and their pain points. And along the way, we learned something very important, which is delegation and empowerment is the only way you can scale, because us founders are tunnel visioned. We're super passionate. We love what we're doing, but sometimes that gets overwhelming and you start laser focusing on something and missing the peripheral things that, you know, come along your way. So when we started our hiring processes, we barely had any funds. So what we focused on the most is to align basically the ethos, to align the sense of community and the need to let Web3 or blockchain reach every person around us as best that we can, because it's better for them, not because it was a personal gain. Please.
Adam, you hire for perfect talent out for values and ethics and personality. Well, as an early stage startup, so where do you focus the hiring process? You want an expert or a high performing expert, or someone who can?
It depends on which stage your startup is in and how much funds you have, right? Eventually, you want to get experts that can, because you reach a place where you're giving as much as you can, but you need something more. You need somebody with experience, with connections. This is where we are, masalan, in our lifetime, is that we're at a place where I want to get an advisor or I want to get an employee that will open up new markets, have already teams of business or networks of, you know, to help me with business development, to be able to take off all of the CTO load if you want. So that can't be somebody that's just talented. We need somebody with, you know, a lot of experience and wisdom. But when we started, you want someone that is as passionate and as hungry and as proactive as you are, right? And that can, you know, experience is great, but usually it's more about talent, more devotion. You know what I mean? And to actually love for you to be able to spread the kind of passion towards your company, and for it to become kind of contagious, and it starts trickling down to also the people or whatever they decide to do. So let's say if it was community building, you know, we had Ralph on the team that was himself an artist himself, that was feeling the pain points of you know, the crisis and everything, and not being able to monetize. So through his voice, we were able to reach the people that feel like him, right? And that was able to relate to them. So it all depends, again, on what, you know, the hiring was for or where you are in your lifetime. But in our experience, this is how things went on.
There were actually some discussions on Twitter like a few weeks ago about this. I think there was a blog post by Y Combinator about the founder mode versus manager mode.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's basically that I don't know, someone at Y Combinator gave a talk about how when you're in an advanced stage in your startup, they start telling you that the best way to scale really well is to hire good people and let them give them the space to do their job.
Yes.
The person who was giving the talk was saying that this is manager mode, like hire a manager. And then there's the founder mode that like he was talking about how this mode can actually help you scale as well. So there are a lot of memes even about that on Twitter right now.
Shaken.
Yeah, it's a whole debate
Again,
now.
it's very subjective. Like,
Exactly.
okay, if me and my two co-founders were able to raise funds and start scaling before we did the hiring process, I would have told you differently. I'd have told you, no, you do that, you keep badgering your head until you can raise, then you create your team. In my experience, it was the opposite, right? I built a team. I was able to delegate, maybe not as best as I could, but you learn, right? And then we reached a place where we pivoted, and now we need people that are much more surgical, that have experience, that can get me certain targets, like either raising, secure a raise, or open a new market for me, or these things, right? So this like this person has to have experience, right? So it depends on where you are and what your startup is actually doing.
Someone as a co-founder, Nana just interviewed someone for a co-founder position now as a CPO, and I still cannot determine if he's the right fit or not, even though he has the expertise, يمكن technical expertise, بس ما بعرف إنه how to determine as a person ethically وكل هالأشياء إنه if he's the right fit to work with me or not. يعني how can we determine this إنه
Very good question, honestly. So here you're telling me that you wanna hire, or you wanna partner up with a co-founder that's gonna bring to the table his tech.
trade business, the miners and business administration, okay? So this is good, and we need someone to find your mentor that are able to find your job, someone that has a business side. بنفس الوقت he needs to have a technical side.
Of course, that's his
أكيد
that's his main
100%.
job, right?
بس كمان إنه ethically أو ما بعرف إنه how to determine الchemistry ethically غير قصص إذا بدك.
هجرب هينك إياها بكم طريقة. So technically, if you want to test someone, you give him technical exercises. You figure out, you give him a problem, you give him a time frame, and you tell him to solve that problem. Technically, that's how you can. Ethically, and in terms of like their values and ethos, and if they're synergetic with yours, I mean, you can only know that by human interaction, right? So just hang out with them, talk about things that are not directly related to your business by itself, but like general thoughts and ideas, right? Because I don't want to be the guy that tells you, okay, there's a gut feeling as well, because there is. But I can't quantify that, to be honest. But what I do know is that when we interviewed these couple of people that ended up working with us for a while, it was easier because we were 3 as well. So we always, and it's nice that it's an odd number. We always have to have the 3 مع بعض, right? حتى when it's 2 versus 1, إنه بضل بنلاقي compromise. But if you want to know their values, hang out with them, do something social with them. I don't know, take them out for a coffee, talk about things that are like parallel to your business, not directly, because he wants to impress you, that. So now let's talk about something, or find a business that is close to what you guys do, and that had something happen with them that you're for sure that I would have done this, or I would have done it differently, and ask them what they would have done. You know what I mean? Like, try and put them in a situation where إذا وصلتوا عليها أنت وياه أو إياها إنه you know for sure إنه هيدا الجواب اللي لازم يعطيني إياه. You know what I mean? And if it comes in terms of firings or hiring or like things that are decisions you want them to take by themselves, but and you want to delegate to them, but you're unsure, just try and simulate that kind of environment. But كمان it's good to kind of have that or something close to that in the questionnaire that you give them or in the application, or you know what I mean? Like if you want to kind of come up with a broad questionnaire that can give you something close to an insight to how they feel or they think, that might help as well, because then you take yourself out of it and you're like, just okay, جاوبني على هالكم سؤال بس please, right? Like kind of try and psychoanalyze them in some way. I don't know. So leadership and vision, as we said, are they the right fit? Do they share the same ethos? Are they hungry? And are they fit to be empowered and to, you know, lead a certain sector by themselves? As Nahla was saying, you know, if you bring someone that's an expert, you don't want to micromanage them or else they won't be able to work as good as they want to. And then build a collaborative, resilient culture. So in our experience in OasisX, a lot of the relationships, the professional relationships that we built, as in our platform and other companies or platforms or brands, we were at a time where the industry was very early, and it is still very early. But now, like industry giants and other industry giants and institutional kind of powers are coming into the business. So at the time of when we were tackling the NFT space, you know, a lot of you know rug pulls or bad actors were trying to benefit, but also people like us who are trying to build. So we found that collaboration is key, especially in the startup phase. So there are a lot of relationships you can build, but you might have not tried to build because I'm a startup, I'm trying to raise, he's a startup, he's trying to raise. So maybe we can find a mutually beneficial relationship where we can both help each other to grow together, right? A lot of people think, خلاص, I need to grow my startup as much as I can so that I can start competing with other ones. Whereas you can be within the same field, but that are tackling different markets or that have a different unique selling points where maybe we can explore synergies and maybe we can help each other to grow together. So collaboration is key for growth, especially in an early stage. I believe so. And, you know, explore synergies and mutually beneficial relationships. And I want to just take it to wrap everything up on the importance of understanding what the culture of your business and brand is, as you were saying, and how you want to, you know, define the leadership and how you delegate to be able to scale and how you empower your employees and give them the tasks without micromanaging, but also following KPIs, following their growth, seeing, okay, being accountable is one thing, but giving them space is another thing. And then how you attract top talent by sharing your vision. So when you are very sure of what your ethos is and what the vision of your company is, you will be able to, you know, put it out there and start attracting the right people. So focus inwards first before you know, focus outwards and start reaching out, because eventually when you do it well enough, people, the right people will start flocking towards you. I want to work with you. I love what your company is. I want to be the CTO. That's how it starts. And that's how you'll know when somebody himself is coming and you know what? I saw that you posted this 2 weeks ago, and I found that I was thinking about it alone, and I think this is a good thing to do, right? So by themselves, they started working without, you know, them knowing, right? They started having kind of this inclination to, okay, how can I make it better? Because I feel that this company is great and it might grow and I want to learn and grow with it. So that also is something to keep an eye on. Crafting a scalable business strategy. So setting clear milestones and KPIs, that's quite obvious. Scaling operations effectively and adapting to changing market dynamics. So here we want to do these. The first two are quite test. The third one I want to kind of deep dive into to give you my experience, to basically develop a roadmap for growth and sustainability. So OasisX, in terms of strategy, changed and pivoted so many times in 3 years. We started off in 2021 as just an idea of basically we understand what NFTs are, but people don't. There's this big technical barrier between, you know, the cross-border payments through banks and then how we can leverage blockchain. So we decided actually at the beginning to launch an academy. OasisX was supposed to be an academy to teach people about Web3. And then when we started listening to the market and seeing that, okay, who needs help the most? It's, let's say, artists. Artists don't have money to get a developer to build a website, to do blockchain connectivity and wallet connectivity on the website, to audit that website for security, to create a minting page, and to create the full collection. That could have cost you around $20,000 to $25,000. We're talking about artists بنص الأزمة, and we want to help them to monetize, مش to sell a kidney. So on the way, we're like, okay, marketplace is needed as well because we got sanctioned because of the Caesar Act, remember? So any NFT marketplace that you connected through a wallet that was from Lebanon got banned. So you have artists that had their art online that got banned, delisted, they took their art off of the platform because platforms like OpenSea tell you they're decentralized, but they're not. They can open or close the faucet whenever they want. So we needed to really create the first completely decentralized NFT marketplace. I don't own the data. You own the data completely. When it transfers, somebody else owns the data, pays you for it, as clear as daylight. That's one. So right before we launched, like literally a month before we launched, we decided to put the academy aside. And that was a big decision that we had to make at the beginning. You know, guys, we can't spread ourselves this thin. Do we want to focus on the marketplace and to become the biggest? We can't really handhold people and teach them and focus on that because that will need its own funding and its own thing. So we really needed to kind of cut a limb. It was very hard, but we did it for the best. Then we thought, okay, what's the next thing that people need? So they need a marketplace that will accept them and not delist them. And then we need to bypass developers that are taking so much money from people. So we came up with a no-code launchpad, the first of its kind at the time on certain blockchains. And then basically 2022, OasisX was born. Then how can we make OasisX better? And going back to listening to the people, understanding that not everyone uses the same language. Not all of them used Ethereum. A lot of people used Solana at the time. Polygon was focusing on gaming, but it was the least friction and the lowest kind of transaction fees at the time. So we're like, okay, how about we introduce Solana? We introduce these two. And why don't we become the first to put all of the three on the same platform? So we were the first multi-chain NFT marketplace in the world to have Polygon, Ethereum, and Solana within the same thing, and with a launchpad, no-code launchpad that can generate their collections for them. Then NFTs died. Nobody cared anymore. We launched in the worst market at the time for blockchain, and we were there. We launched. Our first year was developing, coming up with ideas, everything, and then we launched. We did an event in Sodeko Square here. And then we left to Dubai, and then NFT died. So what do? We need to pivot. But every time we came up with a new solution or we launched something new, we noticed that, guys, we just did something that nobody has done anywhere. And then 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, you find an OpenSea or one of these big platforms that do the same. What that told us is that we're going in the right direction. Okay, this didn't catch, something else didn't catch. And we still have to develop something that will catch. And we said, Oasis was the first, but that didn't stop us. That gave us the fuel that we're going in the right direction, right? We're thinking in the right way. And end of last year, we started thinking, type, how can I'm very user focused, user centric. I'm thinking of the little guy, the consumer, the creator, but that's not scalable. And I'm still a service. How can I make it a product? Every time we went to raise, I've been to over 30 pitch competitions or pitches in front of VCs. And every time it's like, okay, but this is a service. People come, they create something on your platform, and then they go sell it elsewhere. How can I scale? And then nobody cares about marketplaces anymore, because what share are you going to take? Eventually, everyone's going to flock to the one that's used most. So we started thinking, okay, I want to target big businesses, big brands. I want to leverage their user base. I don't want another VC come and tell me, okay, how many active users do you have a year? But it's not about that. I know, okay, it should be, but I know I'm a up and coming startup with in a country or in a region that doesn't have that many users to start with. يعني, عرفتوا? So we pivoted and we started doing modern loyalty programs, or as was said before, loyalty or engagement platform. So what we do now is we partner up with businesses or brands, mostly consumer brands, and we act as their Web3 enablement platform. So an example of Lemonade Fashion, we partnered up with them, and we're creating all of the Web3 kind of monetization scheme that's happening on the platform, connectivity to blockchain, the ability to kind of directly monetize creators and brands and everything. To kind of put them in a Web 2.5, if you want, realm. With other businesses and brands, we create white labeled solutions, web apps, dApps, or mobile apps where they have their own loyalty program with different levels of how many points you can get, and then creating a way where we can actually take those points and put them on other like platforms or products. So the user himself doesn't need to stay loyal only to one brand, but no, they can be loyal to many brands and get rewards and gifts across. So let's say now the existing loyalty programs are very siloed. Like, when's the last time any of you claimed their free iron from Spinneys? We always give them our numbers. We never go on the app. We never know how many points we have. Please, somebody tell me if they do. No? Right. Exactly. Exactly. ما هيدا اللي بيعملوه انه ايه صار لي 3 سنين على فكره بعطيك رقمي ايه expired last February. Like, why? ليه عم بعمل كل هالشيء؟ حاج ضيع لي وقتي. But what we're trying to do is, make it a lot more engaging, focus mostly on the future consumer, which is Gen Zs that play 3 to 4 or 5 hours of gaming every day. So what we do is that we connect with platforms like Roblox, like Fortnite. So imagine you're playing a game of Fortnite with your friends for bragging rights, or just, talk about it the next day. To just win and feel, that feeling. And then when you win, you get a notification on your phone. Congratulations on your win. You now have 30% off of your next breakfast cereal. It's like, did I just create a new way of advertising to people that is directly related to experiences they like to do? Yes, so that's basically what we do now. We try and create loyalty through experience, like we like to call it experiential loyalty and not transactional loyalty. The only 2 transactional loyalty programs that work today are the airlines and the Marriott Bonvoy, the hotels. Why? Because they're directly related to what you consume on your credit card. Everything else is like, okay, I'm getting points for paying on my credit card, but I'm also getting points because I bought from this, but this is dead. Like, nobody cares about it. But why? I need to get loyalty both ways. Why am I buying from you and not somebody else? okay, you're closer to my home and everything, fine, but I mean, you're retaining me as a consumer. Now, imagine you can create an umbrella where today you were next to Carrefour because it's close to your work. Carrefour, sorry, in Dubai. Okay, Carrefour. And then the next day I went to Spinneys. Both are grocery shopping, but each one is their own loyalty program and I don't access it. Imagine being able to redeem points from Carrefour, then change them into an OasisX token, and then buying from Spinneys as well, getting those tokens and then from this and from that. And then now I have global points, if you want, that I can redeem with whatever, you know, the grocery store when I'm there, when I need it. And without them kind of getting expired or perishing, because that's how they grab you. And this is where we are right now, OasisX 2024. We went through a full rebrand as well twice. So just to let you know, in 3 years, we've already pivoted so many times. If I can count you the amounts of decks that we've made that are definitely over 100. But you know, it never stops. And as a startup, you're constantly raising and trying to raise funds and trying to kind of make your product or your platform the best it can. So don't give up. What's up?
كنا عم نحكي عن growth scalability. هلا in other ways إذا بترجع السلايد اللي قبل when you were still at the early stage at Oasis marketplace for NFTs بنفس الوقت when you pivoted to OasisX as a loyalty transfer let's say solution. So we all know there's something called the network effect. I was reading recently a book called The Cold Start Problem. وكان عم بيحكي عن the network effect. So how did you deal with the network effect in both cases? أول مرة you had two stakeholders, الارتستس والعالم اللي بده يشتروا الNFTs. يعني أنا لكون artist إجي اخلق الارت وحطه عندك as a marketplace. I want to make sure you have enough users to actually be interested in my artwork. وتاني شيء أنا لأروح على your marketplace لازم يكون عندك enough artists لحتى أقدر أشوف variety وأقدر أشتري.
صح.
When the other way كمان لما you pivoted to OasisX لازم يكون عندك enough business providers who are on a loyalty program وليجوا معك ليجوا يقولوا لك إنه how much customers you have لحتى عن جد نستفاد من هال solution. ونفس الشيء العكس إذا أنا بدي إجي لعندك إذا بس عندك one airline إذا عندك ثلاثة okay it makes more sense. So مثلا أنا recently my points على Kuwait Airways بدي أسافر بس ما بدي أستخدم Kuwait Airways. I cannot use them
100%.
and I have like 40,000 points. عرفت؟ بالضبط by 12 بيروح منهم شيء 30%. So I want to use them ما أقدر بدي أضطر إذا رحت على الكويت استخدمهم otherwise they're just gone. So the network effect خاصة at a very early stage انه هيدا بده هيدا وهيدا بده هيدا. It's a chicken and egg situation.
100%.
How can you make sure انه to crack the code and launch بطريقة smooth وبنفس الوقت both parties يكونوا interested to be part of it at an early stage?
Good question. Honestly, like from my experience, مثلا, what could have driven more users onto my platform was to collaborate with 5 or 10 of these industry or like within KOLs, إذا بدك, within our industry that could have kind of funneled people towards your platform, right? But they would have needed to be incentivized. And maybe that's money that you don't have to spend right now as a marketing budget. So in our case, our user base in terms of collectors was low, right? Because we were focusing on the region. We wanted to promote artists from the region, but the problem was that what we were doing was eliminating the middleman, right? I want you to be able to sell your art, whether physical or digital, on a digital marketplace, right? So imagine this piece of art. I'm keeping it stays in your kind of studio, right? But what that does is that what the gallerist himself builds off of his network, and he tells you, I'm going to take 40, 50, 60% of the worth of this because I can sell it. When I remove you, from when I remove him from the mix, now the artist needs to become his own marketing or seller, right? And that was a problem we faced, is that, okay, I made it into an NFT, now how do I sell? So we started hand-holding artists and teaching them how to treat themselves as a brand and how to market themselves on Twitter, create a community under your brand, build up your user base or your follower base, and become inch by inch KOL, where people listen to your story, understand where you're coming from, and then want to engage and to support you. So واجهنا هذه المشكلة نحن. Is that, okay, we built a marketplace where you actually own everything yourself. I don't get into any, I don't get any data, any kind of control over your artwork. And we wanted to focus on the region. We did the first NFT marketplace that switches to Arabic. We really tried to focus on the region and thought that that would be enough to kind of start funneling people in. بس كمان اللي صار is that NFTs were dying. Like, it was at the lowest time. People were getting scammed. You had the big, Bored Apes and the big collections, but then people started veering away from the young creator economy, the stuff like that. Because most of the people that were dealing with NFTs at the end were people that just did it for the monetary gain. So we had to do it again by need. The pivot happened because we weren't able to leverage the network effect, because we were at the end of when it happened. If we had launched 2 years before, لا كنا لقطناها من أولها, and we would have funneled so much more people towards us, because everything was new, and having a safe and secure platform at the time, with a curated kind of marketplace where there weren't these scammers or pictures or of let's not say, but on OpenSea, it's an OpenSea, you can find anything you want. 100%. So it was a time thing. It was the reverse network effect that happened with us at the time, that where we were at our best. The word NFT was like a black cloud. Nobody wanted to hear it anymore, because a lot of people lost money, or they don't believe in it, or all of that. So then we kind of changed the wording to digital collectibles, which is more acceptable now. And now, actually, we abstract all of the blockchain layer from these solutions that we do. So now users that use the solution of مثلا the breakfast cereal or with lemonade or stuff, we don't tell them that you're using blockchain, because what we understood, and as I was saying before, as a founder, you become so tunnel visioned and focused. And every time I want to open a conversation, I want to tell them everything about the ins and outs, because I'm so passionate. They don't want to know about, like, you would lose them by the second sentence, and then they're just there like, okay, great. Image, yes, Bored Apes, I know that. Other than that, you're bombarding them with so much technical jargon. So there's a lot of timing as well, and luck, and like these things where the network effect actually acted against us. Now I kind of removed this fact, because I leverage the network of my customer. Right? So if I'm talking about L'Oreal, Nestle, these big businesses, brands, Deliveroo, they already have their user base and everything. All I need to do is to come and tell them, listen, I'm in good relationships with these blockchains. They might want a solution that you can offer, that I can offer you on their blockchain. So maybe they give me a grant so that I can develop it, so that they retain you as a customer. So I build off of people's network. I build a professional network for me and my company. And then, that way I kind of alleviated myself, because I'm not a B2C anymore. Now I'm a B2B2C. And eventually I want to be a B2B2B2C. So I want to target the loyalty programs themselves and give them solutions. So we kind of removed this, actor, which is, okay, how much more users can I get? خلاص خيي, I get more clients that have users. Go ahead.
In terms of these, you mentioned early on kind of collaborating with different startups or companies for the mutual benefit.
Yes.
And I'm kind of coming off of your last point, اللي هو B2B to B2C, partnering with different companies. How would you incentivize them to, يعني, a point he did was انه اوقات you go in a circle because this company wants to know انه مثلا اذا السبلاير بده يعرف انه الديستريبيوشن مأمن، distributor بده يعرف السبلاير مأمن، اثنيناتهم بدهم يعرفوا التك مأمن. We've gone through our second pivot right now, and this is actually the exact model that we have. So I'm kind of doubling down قد ما في على partnerships, strategic partnerships. But how would you kind of approach it when all the three sides of this strategic partnership want to know that the other two sides are available? يعني this is هيدا السيركل اللي عم نبرم فيها right now. They're all very excited, but they all want to see إنه distribution مأمن أو التك مأمن أو supply مأمن. This is what
Why don't you guys go for a proof of concept? Take it step by step. Be fair in the like the profit sharing or whatever sharing that model that you guys come up with. And why did I tell you to kind of try and find companies that have synergies with you, but that also share your ethos? Because there has to be a leap of faith somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? Because مثلا in our case, when you would be able to convince a certain counterpart, business brand or person that wants to work with you, has a platform that can, you know, integrate with you, can use one of the solutions that you offer, and then in return secure you some clientele or something, to find a mutually beneficial common ground between you guys. Whereas I have nothing to lose if I engage with them, and I have the most to gain if it works. I don't put all of my eggs in it because I still am working on my thing, but I give it a chance because I am in a place where I have nothing to lose, right? Because you know, a potential of something happening against nothing. So it does take some finessing. Don't legally bind yourself with anything in that terms. Just keep it, take a broad, and then again, put certain milestones. Whereas, okay, قطعنا هيدا الphase, let's, you know, officiate the relationship a bit more. Let's, you know, put an agreement down. Does this lead to a joint venture later on? يعني كمان explore how much this relationship can become, but also find the benefit of some relationships being just as much as what they need to. And then if that is good and we can continue, then great. If we part ways here, then it was great. ما حدا خسر شيء. So it's I know it's tough, but sometimes, most times, putting, you know, collaborating and finding kind of synergies, whereas it's mutually beneficial, is a very important step, right? In our growth, it was very important. We were able to collaborate to help people find, you know, clientele or find other partners. Man, okay, I met you at an event and you have this solution. It is not synergetic with mine, but I met another person that also has that. So هون الستام تحكي about being focusing on your professional network. And honestly, I know I'm going to sound a bit هيك romantic أو شيء, بس إنه I believe if you do good, it'll come back to you, right? A lot of times I was exposed to businesses, brands, companies that couldn't benefit me directly. But I connected them with other people that, you know, had a direct benefit with them. Now they're working together. They created solutions. They might have exited companies. But later on, it'll turn around and stuff. And if you reach a certain place within your business where it is relevant and somebody can benefit from it, they will recall you. They will, you know, kind of reference you and send something your way. So just keep your head up, man, and keep the ethos, as we said, of just growth, collaboration, success together, and you know, inshallah, it'll work out. Yeah.
Thank you. Do you mind if I have a very quick follow-up question?
Go ahead, please.
If you're focusing on this kind of partnership and collaboration, well, I know it's not one or the other, but if we had to choose one, would you build then partner or partner then build حسب what your partners say is the best kind of approach?
Partner in terms of what?
Like if you're striking strategic partnerships, do you build and then show people to partner with them what you've built, or do you partner and then build حسب what they
Sorry, strategic partner as in within the team, or as in businesses?
no,
or
other
brands of
businesses that are
Okay.
strategic partners to your business. Do you build, then show them, or do you partner with them, suggest the idea, and then build with them, for example? Which would you say is a more
It's
smart
very
approach?
situational because if I have a company and you have yours, and together we can come up with a solution, but we don't have the funding for it, then we can kind of create a middle ground and then raise that to a certain investor or a certain how do I say this is not blockchain, Web2, an institution that would benefit from this product or this solution that you can come up putting your heads together, then you should go that way. If you have a solution already built that a partner can benefit from and then maybe barter for connections or to land you investments or to do something like that, or a certain API that you can plug in theirs, and then that would funnel people to your platform, then that is okay, build, then collaborate. So it's very situational to what you have at the time. And then again, how synergetic your companies are together and at what stage can you guys head. And a lot of times they say, okay, we have a solution coming out in next year and then this and that. Okay, we can sign
letter of intent.
We can sign something together and like an intention that, okay, once this is done, we will explore it. By the time it ends, I could have pivoted 3 times already. It's not relevant anymore. But again, it's good to keep the conversation open, to keep that contact on the side, follow them on LinkedIn, follow their evolution, their company's evolution. Well, eventually this is your network, right? Yeah, the more you find these like-minded people that have startups that are trying to build and grow. It might not be this startup, it might be their third startup where you guys collaborate, but all of this is good. It's good network. Raising capital and managing finances. So, crafting a convincing pitch to investors. As I told you before, guys, we have maybe launched over 100 versions of our pitch. It constantly changes with every single kind of target or person or VC. It's going to change. Better make it. Why we've changed this much is because we are true believers that making it personal to the person you're sharing it with as best you can, whether it be from the email body that you're sending or from the deck itself and some slides that are directly related to their industry or their client base is very important. So stay dynamic. Don't just go with a pitch deck from 3 months ago. Really, just stay dynamic with it. Things are changing constantly. Change the data that's on it. Research, because honestly, people focus on that. We always think, okay, pie chart is the same, or the amounts of times that we put, the XY thing, and we always put ourselves on the top right, people focus on that. And then when you're asked about it and, they deep dive, okay, let's say you're the best in the region, grow the loop, right? Check if you read like globally, if you're where you stand, right? Like keep trying to put yourself in the right light so that you can share the right story, understanding different funding stages. And under this, I want to focus on something that we went through our first 3 years, or 2 years actually. Don't overvalue your company. That is the worst thing you can do. Overvaluing your company is going to make you lose the interest of they're going to make you lose the last 10 minutes you've been trying to pitch to a VC or to an investor. The way to kind of mitigate that from happening is to really focus on in the industry standard, right? There's probably a bracket between where startups within your field are valuing when they raise their first round. try and compare yourself to where they were, what they've done, and then if they already raised for something like that, then I have to have three things different that are better, right? And don't overvalue and don't overraise in the beginning, right? Don't lose part of your company in the beginning because you got a bit greedy, and now let's say you reach a stage where you need an advisor or a strategic partner, and you don't have any more, you know, percentage to give away. So especially in the beginning stages, don't overvalue, don't overraise. And managing cash flow and financial planning. Guys, we've been like, Anna, runway for me is like a Pac-Man, right? And there's, you know, this thing that's behind me all the time. And then it's sometimes months, sometimes years when we get clients and stuff. In our lifetime, we raised once and then markets changed. Our platform changed. We pivoted so many times, and now we run off of clients. So we've reached a place where we get clients funneling to our way, coming in, asking for solutions, and we're staying afloat. But we're at a phase where we want to scale, and so just again, things don't always go the way they need to, right? Do you raise, then build a team? Do you build a team, then raise? All of these, it's like the chicken and egg kind of idea. But the thing I know for sure is that you keep on pushing. You keep your head down, you build, and you stay afloat the best way you can, right? Even if you have to slim down the company to the founders only, even if you're, you know, you have inflow, but I can't really do any research or development, or I can't do anything else. There will come times where you can only maintain the platform as is, as you think of different ways that you can kind of target new customers. So just keep at it, never give up. And you have to secure eventually funding, whether it be from investment or from, you know, client inflow to support your startup's growth and maintaining its health. So emergent trends in Web3, of course, everyone knows about DeFi. However, you can leverage blockchain for cross-payment solutions, or for even using it as an infrastructure within your business or brand's kind of systems will be very attractive these days. AI, the big word of the century now. Trying to implement AI, but in a smart way, not just putting a chatbot and saying, I leverage AI, trying to really get it to optimize, you know, systems within your businesses' processes, or it could be in the marketing kind of, you know, schemes that you have for your company, if it's targeting the users over how they engage with you, whether it be on social platforms or on the platform itself, and integrating NFTs in customer engagement, as OasisX is doing directly. So as I told you, we leverage the blockchain, but we keep it on the back end. So now let's say every loyalty point would be a token on the blockchain, so that I, as a business, or as the main platform that's maintaining the solution, can directly see where this consumer is putting his points, how much money, how much points do they have. These are the metrics that I care about, not your demographics, what phone you're using, you know, how much battery you have. I don't give a, you know. And embrace these technologies to future-proof your startup, right? So it shouldn't just be buzzwords. Really try to integrate these new tools. They're tools. Don't be afraid of them. They're not coming to take your jobs, you know, like really get familiar with them, and try as much as you can leverage them for the better, not just to put it as a title. Again, stay resilient, stay adaptable, and never stop innovating. And that was me. Any questions?
يبلش ولا كثير سألت أسئلة؟
Great presentation, Jimmy.
Thank you, Rafiq. Thank you. ريتك معنا.
I wanted to ask regarding your last slide on the usage of blockchain technologies. What would you, this is a bit of a separate entity, but so what would you say about the usage of blockchain technologies for legal matters like license transfers, ownership, IP ownership, etc.? Because this is something my startup is actually looking into to kind of transfer IPs, data temporarily using the blockchain to create the sense of safety when you're sharing information.
Very valid question. A question I ask myself every day because it only makes sense to me to have my passport as an NFT, a soul-bound token that gets stuck to my wallet, that's only accessible by my biometrics, that I can show anyone whenever I want, or my healthcare kind of profile that I can show, or that first responder بعيد الشر إذا خبصتني سيارة can put my thing and know that I have diabetes بعيد الشر أو شيء. It's all about regulation. It's where regulation accepts that this digital document is whatever legal document you want it to be. The problem with today is that our governments are still not accepting as this layer of blockchain to be actually officiated as documents.
Okay.
Right? That is the problem. And my background is real estate development. The first thing I had focused on when we started this whole thing was that, okay, eventually I want to fractionalize apartments so that I can sell, let's say, $1 million apartment to 100 people instead of one. That way they can profit share when it gets resold or when it gets rented. But regulation doesn't permit it yet. It will come. But today, if I sell NFTs that give you ownership of a house, وبيجي الدرك بيقول لك حبيبي يلا هاد ما عم بتستفيد شيء. So I am I'm the biggest advocate of life becoming like this, for documents to have a digital passport, to have a proof of ownership and proof of provenance of anything to be digital, but it will take time.
Yeah, I guess this is the conversation I wanted to have with you, Sofina, but then like to dive a bit deeper into this.
It's all about picking the right regulator, the right jurisdiction to regulate your activity. That's very important. That's why we picked Dubai. Because we found that it was becoming forward thinking and everything. And when I tell you we were the first that got an NFT license, they actually created it for us.
Okay.
We were in collaboration with the DMCC in Dubai, and they were asking us, what are your activities? We want to try and regulate. We're doing this and this and that. Okay, that I don't really understand, but it's not breaking any laws. And that's what we benefited from, is that opposed to the US, where you're guilty until proven innocent, and you're stealing. So in Dubai, it was, I don't understand what this is, but there's a gray area, keep building. Eventually, I'll come up with VARA, which they did now, Virtual Asset Regulation Authority. And if that is infringing of anything, then you pivot, you remove it, you host your marketplace in a different jurisdiction, which is actually what we're doing now. So now they decided to remove this license. But I am now much more than just a marketplace. I'm now kind of a Web3 consultant and a Web3 solution builder. So I get a license for those, and then the marketplace can be hosted under a different jurisdiction. So it will take time, and we'll talk about that later. Yes. Bye, Habibi. Good to see you.
For some reason, I still know some people who believe in NFTs. Okay. My question is, لما you found out that خلاص Oasis as it started an NFT marketplace is no more a good concept and you have to pivot. When do you know إنه خلاص this idea is dead and you let go? امتى بتوصل لهالمرحله وكيف تعرف انه خلص عن جد you have to let go لانه people sometimes get attached to their ideas.
No, I get it. هلا we were lucky enough to be able to still leverage technology that we've built, but kind of gift wrapping it and putting it within a bigger process that we're doing now. So now I still do use the interoperability and transferability that I had built for the marketplace, but now I built them as unique white labeled solutions within a mobile app مثلا that I sell as one product. So I still use things for like technical things that I've built for the marketplace and the security and the auditing and for the launchpad. And I still use the launchpad to create all of these tokens, all of the rewards, everything gets created. Because I created a software that can generate, smart contracts at scale without any code. So we were lucky enough to still be able to use these things. But what we've done is that we've streamlined the whole process, made it into a solution that can be kind of replicated. And now I sell each one of them white labeled, like with branding, with certain solutions, with certain flows that are tailor-made to a business or a brand. So we did let go of, the brand, the logo, the OasisX
initial idea.
as it started.
Okay.
But I feel like we've evolved into what OasisX has to become. Because like a lobster outgrows its shell. You know that?
Yeah.
A lobster goes and hides behind a rock for months. It removes its shell and then builds a bigger shell so that it can go back out to hunting and all of that. So this is what we did. End of 2023, we took a step back. We kind of shed what we felt needed to be shed. And then we kind of came up with a much fuller, more targeted product, and we came out with it again. Funny enough, our branding now is the color of a lobster. They're not related. They're not related.
Thanks, man.
Cheers. Any more questions?
How would you know how aggressive to be in hiring? If, for example, you can do everything that needs to be done and it's just a matter of time with your people, but you can do it faster and better if you hire more people.
Listen, it's about, again, how much funding you have, how much runway you have. And then there is a point where you will feel that me staying alone is diminishing returns, right? And then you can test. Now, that's why you have also like, grace periods and, like, hey, because you can test out having a new employee and giving them some, tasks to do. But what's very important is when you do decide to do that, the worst thing you can do is to not empower them and to not give them, because that way, okay, عم بدفع له أنا معاش بس كمان ما عم بعطيه مجال يفشخ فشخة. So ما عم بستفيد، عم ضيع وقتي، عم قل له شو يعمل، لا بعملها لحالي. So that's a you problem, not a him problem, because you are not being good at delegation, which is the most important thing you can do, right? And other than being a co-founder of this company, I angel invest in different companies. A lot of them try and sometimes tell me be on the board, be an advisor, have an active role in the company. Or even with Oasis, and okay, be the CEO. Fine. Look, but what are your strengths? Where can you kind of, empower, give as much as you can, and then, scale or fill out the gap somewhere else. So it's very important to see both of these things. One, قديش معك مصاري, and then two, if you are good at, empowering an employee or a peer to be able to really test if they are the right fit or not. Because a lot of times it's a you problem, not a them problem, right? إنه أنا ما بحب حدا يعمل شغلتي غير أنا. طيب great, بس إنه حتضلك أنت هون. هتضلك انت فاتح فرن واحد بدل ما يكون عندك a franchise. You know what I mean? So you need to find the happy middle. And again, if you have money, just go ahead.
Yeah.
Right? You كمان, there's a lot of that as well. So you really need to focus on, okay, إذا أعطيته معاش على سنة سنتين هذا كيف حيأثر علي? Worst case scenario.
Thank you.
Question. I want to go back to when you were talking about Web3 and the community that understands Web3 versus the one that doesn't understand Web3. What I really like about how you described OasisX is that it's being more accessible to people who don't exactly understand Web3, which is something I've seen a lot of Web3 companies fail at. I've worked at some of those, and بتحسن they're very targeted to just people who fully understand and then integrate it into Web3 in every way possible, whether it's crypto or NFTs or avatars or هيك. When we're going into Web3, through the digital avatar landscape of Web3. How would you say يعني, you can approach something that's very much a niche that not a lot of people have used yet in a way that becomes accessible to users beyond the whole like Web3 community that already understands it?
You need to find a way to make the user journey feel as close as them using Instagram and Facebook as you can. Email sign in, Facebook, Google sign in. Just like really try and abstract as much as you can the layer where they need to be tech savvy. And this is what we learned after 3 years, and nobody wants to know. Because if you think about it, the credit card, the piece of plastic, or even your Apple Pay, when you okay, Lebanon, sorry, we're a cash economy. I'm sorry, it was
Not
so
being
uns-
Apple Pay.
unsensitive. لا, in countries that have the credit card, or لما كان عنا, people don't know what the hell happens when they tap their card.
Yeah.
They don't need to know the processes. You know, my machine is talking to the internet, talking to their other bank that's escrowing the money so that, you know, nobody cares about that. I can buy with this. I can sign in and get an avatar that's gonna, you know, give me a discount for a shoot tomorrow. I don't care about the ins and outs of things. That's how you can get the wider user base, right? Because we're the same. We're super passionate. We're super, you know, focused on what we're building. كل مرة بدي اطلع, I have a 25 minutes and what is the crypto هيدا? طيب لا, maybe I'm wasting time trying to show you what I've learned. Maybe I can learn to hide all of this in the smartest way, to use the underlying kind of infrastructure to my and your benefit as a client. But what I'm doing ultimately, either saving you money or making you more money. That's what they care about. In my case, يعني. So we got better at using it without bombarding people with high technical words that would scare them off. So you need to really, and it comes with time and with experience. يعني ما حدا is gonna hit it. اللي بيقدر برافو عليه. But you know, with us, it took us a lot of trial and error, and people that were just, you know, you lose them again. بأول جملتين ثلاثة that, you know.
Yeah. But I totally agree, Lano. I think this is why the virtual influencers that are on Instagram have been way more successful than digital avatars and the metaverse platforms that are being developed.
Because
so totally
to
agree.
funnel people into the metaverse is hard, but everyone uses Instagram.
100%, yeah.
So it's a visual cue, Instagram is the best visual kind of social media now, it made sense. بكرة إذا Instagram open a metaverse, 1 billion users will come.
Yeah.
Whereas إذا بعدك أنت you have to drag them from Instagram to go to somewhere else, it's not working. And that's why that's why actually Lemonade is a beautiful app that works, is because it mixes social, but it has an e-commerce on top of it, where it doesn't funnel you into another platform, because that's where you lose. More than 70% of your users, أنا بدي أخذ link لروح على شيء ثاني, you're lost.
Yeah.
Because my muscle memory فوت على Instagram, مش فوت على your app, and it will never be that. So very important is to kind of not have this huge technical barrier for people to start using any kind of your services, because it'll be much harder to educate them, right? Because people don't have time anymore. Their attention span is very low. And you want something as close to what they use on a daily basis, or else you lose them. Any more questions? Go ahead.
I'm from these people that never understood and will never understand what you're speaking about. But my main question is, did you come across throughout your journey, if by any way these tools, let's say, can be used towards agriculture or towards,
of course,
cosmetic
you know, in
branding?
Holland, they use AI now to target certain weeds and shrubs
Yes.
that they don't want to have within their fields.
Yeah.
They have this mechanical laser shooting, I don't know what it is, gun, that
Identifies the
that
crop that
identifies as
it's
it
not
goes
needed
and
and
burns
burns
all of
it.
these
Yeah,
weeds
exactly.
as it goes. So that's just off the bat something that is an LLM model, an AI that was taught مرة ورا الثانية ورا الثالثة of how to kind of skim through the plantation and to identify what is an invasive plant and kill it from its roots. So that's one way how AI is helping in farming. You can optimize your yield to market strategy through, I don't know, maybe optimizing the route of where your distribution is going. Like there are definitely
That was my question, to be exact, in terms of customer base or selling the product. So briefly, what we do is we do snail farming, and we sell snail
Nice.
slime as a cosmetic reactive
Yes.
ingredient for cosmetic and pharmaceutical
Nice. Is it farm in
manufacturing.
Lebanon?
Yes.
Hello.
So and we have a patented machine for slime extraction. So my main question is, if I want to track customers' utility to be able to identify manufacturers, to target them and sell them our raw material for their production. So is there any way you think that this is possible? Or I mean, to collect data through AI for customers that are buying natural organic products?
But firstly, is this data readily available? Because I feel the problem here is not about the tools you're using. It's about that companies and distributors don't share that data openly.
Yes,
because
if we
because
can
that's what secures their profitability.
Yeah.
Right? Because if I knew where مثلا L'Oreal gets their snail.
No, I mean, it's not that way. I mean, if there is a possibility to collect data from the internet of people that they are purchasing online organic products. Therefore, we have an estimate of the customers and from what companies they are buying. You understand? Kind of reverse engineering.
But I think this data is proprietary to platforms, and
That they are selling.
It would be a kind of a security breach to know, not, or you can maybe buy the data. But yeah,
Okay.
it's hard, yeah, because this gives you a competitive edge, and if you had access to that, then anyone would. Now, if this data was on the blockchain, and you could identify which wallets are the ones that are tokenizing and holding this data, then yes, you can then get consumer metrics, as in where this money is going, right? But that also is anonymous, so it's tough.
Okay.
Ethically, I think there is a barrier, or it's going to be very expensive if you're getting from a data collection site or these kind of dark web. Data.
Okay.
It's tough, but I'll think about it. I'll think about how maybe blockchain or I know for a fact, maybe not for a fact, but I'm thinking maybe if you tokenize the data of your farm, and if it has any kind of environmental benefit,
It does.
then you can raise this with proper data collected over a good period of time to environmental institutions that might help you with money, that can help you with grants, because you're doing something good for the environment.
Okay.
So that might be a road you can explore.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you guys for your time.
Here you go.
Bye guys.
Hold them.
والله ما بعرف iPark جايبينه. Thank you so much.
Yes, huh?
That was great.
It was fun.
You need to turn. This is like water. You need to test.
شو غريبة.
شو رأيك؟ إيه؟ أنا عم بتطلع فيها إنه واو.